Olympics next year. Players like Juninho and Roberto Carlos, even though he qualifies for age, has already played in an Olympic tournament, so he doesn't qualify. Juninho, Sávio, Dida, it's half their Olympic squad, and also the CBF only allowed one player per club to participate in this tournament, so as to not to disrupt the state league competitions in Brazil.
Okay, John, well, thank you very much for joining us. As you can see from your pictures there, no doubt the match is almost ready to get underway. Thanks for joining us. Our best regards to everybody in Brazil, and do enjoy the game. We'll see you when you get back.
Bye now.
Okay, so there is the stadium, the campus in Maldonado, and again the crowd is not a big one for this one, but then again we spoke about the high prices yesterday.
Les, I think we can also see that the pitch there is in a lot better condition than the one in the main stadium, Montevideo, so that should suit the Brazilian game.
Indeed it should. Okay, well, let's go over to Maldonado, and our commentators there are Martin Tyler and Trevor Francis.
Con el 6, John Harkes. Con el 8, Ernie Stewart. Con el 9, Tab Ramos. Con el número 7, Joe Moore. Con el 11...
Trevor, is there a way for the United States?
Well, I don't think so, Martin. I think they've done exceptionally well to get as far as this in the tournament, but I think the end of the road is about 90 minutes away. I can only see one result tonight, but I just hope that the American boys, they come out and they play with a positive attitude, as they did against Argentina and against Chile when they won in an earlier game. And I just hope that they don't come out and they're a little bit in awe of this Brazilian side, because I think that in the last game against Argentina, we saw one or two signs that they're not impossible to break down in defensive situations. I felt that, you know, up to the Argentinian game, we all felt that it was a side that was built around a very, very strong defence. They'd not conceded a goal. But as we saw against Argentina, Batistuta and Balbo, they really did tear them apart in that opening first 45 minutes. And I just hope tonight that Wynalda gets the sort of support that he merits, and the American lads have a go at this Brazilian team.
Well, Steve Sampson has made two important improvements to the team. He's made the style more direct, with plenty of pace in key areas, but he's also, believe it or not, increased the commitment. When he took over, he told his European players that they weren't as focused for their country as he's seen them be for their clubs, and the players, to their credit, agreed with him. They were told that that had better change, and they have played here with a terrific attitude. The referee from Ecuador, Alfredo Rodas, who took charge of the quarter-final between Uruguay and Bolivia. Brazil, kick-off. Big favourites here to reach Sunday's final, with Uruguay, the host nation, waiting for the winners here in Maldonado. Real focal point of the team, Alexei Lalas, not just for his play, which at times has been erratic in the tournament, but really for the spirit that he's shown. A natural leader, a great supporter of the development of the game in the United States, and reporters have suddenly been dispatched here from North America. The New York Times has started to carry news from this tournament. Sports Illustrated, the famous American magazine, wanting to do features on the coach and the players. It's a great success for this squad here, but it means so much more to the development of the game in the United States, on a high after the World Cup. If they could do the unlikely here, my goodness, the gospel will be well and truly spread. But you feel that the world champions hold all the significant cards. They've got a free kick. They've got Juninho to take it. So important for the Americans not to concede an early goal. Roberto Carlos threatens to collect it for Brazil, but the shot is wide.
Well, it was a typical effort, wasn't it, from Carlos? How many times do we see him strike that ball with his left foot from distance? Here he drives it hard and low and just goes past Brad Friedel's post. But an early warning for the Americans.
Friedel has put in a lot of time with the squad as backup goalie to Miola, of course. And Steve Sampson fully praising the contribution of Casey Keller. But deciding that it was time to make a decision. Friedel recognised as the number one, but Keller, I can tell you, very close behind him. And very much back involved after 3 years, the Millwall man in the international wilderness. Lawless with some quick thinking at the throw. The pace of Kobe Jones, who's got the better of Roberto Carlos. An opportunity for the United States here, but it was cut out by Leandro. Brought out by Zinho. And then Edmundo makes the most of the contact with Lawless to get Brazil a free kick.
You do feel in wide areas tonight there's one or two important confrontations to take place. You look at the lad Kobe Jones and Stewart on the other side. They're predominantly attacking players, and they're up against Carlos and Jorginho, probably the most formidable attacking fullbacks in world football.
It's another very chilly evening in Uruguay. Brazilians haven't liked these late kickoffs, although they've played reasonably well until they met Argentina in full cry in an absolutely thrilling first half, and then a very competitive second half when Argentina were down to 10 men. And the goal that's been the major topic of conversation that got Brazil out of jail from JULIO when he clearly handled the hand of the devil, the Argentinians have been calling it. The opposite, of course, I suppose, to the hand of God, which Diego Maradona always claimed. Got Argentina that goal against England. Zinho, is he in here? Well, he was. But Friedel, in the end, very grateful to see that pass by his right-hand post.
Well, you do feel that if the US are going to have problems, it's going to be in wide areas. I think playing this system with three central defenders, Caligiuri, Lawless and Burns, it puts a great deal of pressure on the two wide players, Stewart and Kobe Jones. Here you see them totally exposed. Zinho is through on his famous left foot, but just drags it past the post. Another warning to the US side. That's the second one we've had in the opening 5 minutes, and they've both come from this left-hand side. You feel that Carlos and Zinho are going to cause plenty of problems down this side if the US aren't careful.
Uruguay, as a country, a happy hunting ground for the USA. Their only previous semi-final in a major competition was here, way back in 1930 in the very first World Cup. And they lost that semi-final 6-1 to Argentina.
Just returning to your point, Martin, about Sampson, the American coach, making a decision on Brad Friedel. I think that was right. I don't think he could continue in the tournament alternating the two keepers. One match Friedel, next match Keller. I feel a little bit sorry for Casey Keller, because when you look at the tournament, there aren't any outstanding keepers. And I think in Friedel and Keller, they've probably got the best two keepers in the tournament in the US.
Jorginho well forward. Juninho starting the match on the right-hand side. Jorginho couldn't quite lift it up when Sávio was waiting in the centre, looking for his first international goal. It's quite a comparison when JULIO, who's not in the team, has scored 7 in his last 7 appearances.
Yes, it was a big surprise for me that JULIO wasn't in the starting lineup, but Zagallo obviously knows the players better than what we do, and often, you know, some players, they are better when they come off the bench.
Zinho. What Sávio does give is a natural veering to the left-hand side, where you see him here. He's got more mobility than JULIO, who really is a penalty box player.
But JULIO's got that terrible habit, hasn't he? Scoring goals.
Well, of course, he's there again on the bench if required tonight. Trying to get Ernie Stewart down the left-hand side, the USA. Edmundo. Juninho coming in from the right again. Sávio. Mike Burns, one of the three centre-backs, with Lalas and Caligiuri. It's represented quite a tactical change by the Americans in defence, not helped by the loss of their most capped player of all time, Balboa, who was injured early against Argentina. And that looked curtains, really, to lose a player of that experience in a match of that magnitude. But my goodness, the Americans played with such spirit, took their chances, and Argentina were failing, and really put the cat amongst the pigeons and set up a group win for themselves. And Argentina had to play Brazil in the quarter-finals instead of this semi-final when they were expected to meet.
There are obviously good reasons why the US decided during this tournament to change the tactics, and I just happen to think, Martin, that it was after the Bolivian game, when they were totally exposed in midfield. I felt that Bolivian outplayed them, outpassed them. They were certainly outnumbered, but now they've got much more of a solid look in that midfield with an extra player in there, and I feel that it's benefited the likes of John Harkes playing in that central midfield area.
Edmundo, Sávio couldn't find Zinho. Well, it certainly was after the Bolivian game, Trevor, but partly the way they played in that match, but mostly because they faced Batistuta in the next game, and they wanted to go with a bit more insurance at the back. But it's all worked out pretty well. Joe Max Moore's come into the side in the reshuffle. He gets it up to Jones here. But the whole tone of the American play has been different prior to that. I saw them play last month in the US Cup, and under Steve Sampson, they are more direct. They do want to contribute more to the attacking side of the spectacle, which they were very loath to do under Bora Milutinovic, who organised them so well defensively. They've relied so much on Wynalda, who takes the corner here and sends it deep. Edmundo. Zinho seeing plenty of the ball on his return. Sávio. They do feel in Brazil is really going to be a star in the making, and you can see why. He challenged Caligiuri then and got rather shoved aside, but the referee from Ecuador didn't see it as a foul, fortunately for the United States.
Yes, I think that because Sávio is so lightweight, he only needs a little touch and he's over on the floor. We've seen this on so many occasions, but I think the referee was quite correct there not to give the penalty. Just returning to your point about Wynalda, he's had a good tournament, and I get the feeling that when he's playing well, the American team are playing well. He scored on 3 occasions, and in both the games he scored, the US have won the game, so that may be a pointer to tonight.
Eric Wynalda, who I believe had a game for Sheffield Wednesday reserves last year.
Yes, I had him over on trial, and he performed quite well in the few days he was here. Not particularly well in the reserve game. He then went to Alan Smith at Crystal Palace, and unfortunately for Eric, Alan didn't take him. But he's certainly done well in this tournament, and it wouldn't surprise me if 1 or 2 clubs in England actually show a little bit of interest in him, because he's looked one of the most accomplished forwards in the tournament.
Yes, of course, he's been based a long time in Germany without really playing as well consistently as we have seen him in this competition, but maybe it's all part of this upping of the attitude to turn the professional experiences of so many of these players dotted around the world into a cohesive international team. So often they've got together and played international matches in the European off-season, and players do get a bit holiday-minded at that time. Some of those matches have not been of great significance, but of course they are here, and it's shown the way they've approached it. But they're in trouble at the moment, the United States, because Zinho's got the ball. Roberto Carlos supporting him and wanting to get in behind Kobe Jones then. And a free kick is given to Brazil on the edge of the area.
Well, a little give and go here. I think Carlos just shows his experience, gets his body in front of it, waits for the nudge there from Kobe Jones, and wins a free kick for Brazil in a very dangerous position.
It will be taken by Juninho. And a goal! Beautifully worked. Aldair came in and from very close range thumped the header home with 13 minutes gone. He came through the crowd. He got there, Friedel didn't.
Well, you see Aldair here, times his run well. It's a great delivery from Juninho. Here you see the ball. Good height for Aldair. Keeper comes for it. Can't get his punch in. And Aldair puts Brazil in the lead.
Well, the United States have played Brazil 4 previous times in the 90s and not scored in any of those internationals. The most recent, of course, in the World Cup in Palo Alto just over a year ago. Well, they've got to score now if they're going to stand any chance of getting into the final of the Copa America. Caligiuri. But they have looked a unit more capable of goal-getting. They have to live up to those expectations. Ramos is probably quite relieved that Leonardo has been left out tonight after what happened in the World Cup. But he lost out there to André Cruz, and from that, Jorginho into the feet of Sávio. Dunga. Well, it's another goal from a set piece from Brazil.
Yes, in the opening minutes, Brazil caused 1 or 2 problems down this left-hand side here. And it's no surprise to me that Carlos got in behind Kobe Jones. He's not a recognised defender. Here he is again. That's the danger area. I feel that US have got to do something about that, because if they were to concede another goal, they would be in serious trouble.
Incidentally, 7 of this USA side took part in that game at Palo Alto near San Francisco. Brazil have 5 survivors. Remember, they played the second half with 10 men, but 1 with a goal from Bebeto. The Americans also had one of their defenders, Clavijo, red-carded close to the final whistle as they went out of the World Cup. Zagallo has produced the Brazilian team here that has definitely come to compete, and I say that and it might surprise you to say that about Brazil, but in many of the early editions of the South American Championship that wasn't the case, even up to relatively recently. The clubs carry so much power in Brazil, and they are loath to release their players for anything but World Cup qualifiers. So this tournament has become more of an attraction to television around the world. There's more money to be made from it. That's why it's being played every 2 years.
You just feel at the moment, though, that Brazil have got a set of players together where they harmonise so well. It looks a great team spirit, and this is the Copa America, but you get the feeling that whatever the tournament was, they've got into a habit of winning, and that habit's a fantastic habit, and I think they would win any sort of tournament that they enter in at the moment. They're that good, this team.
And of course, their record of 25 internationals unbeaten was the second best ever in Brazilian history, and there have been some great runs, as you can imagine, down the years. The record they're trying to beat is that of the side in the early 70s that went 29 internationals without defeat. Brazil, and I don't think there'll be too many of these players perhaps taking part, have another tournament shortly to be involved in Monaco with Uruguay and Saudi Arabia. Official internationals they will be recognized as, and that's the weekend after next. So Mario Zagallo will be trying to get some sort of selection together. Again with club demands playing a key role in who will be allowed. Here's Burns. Jones. Well, we have felt, Trevor, that they're perhaps not in Argentina's class, is they don't have a Batistuta, maybe not a Balbo as well, but if they can pick up a regular supply of goals from set pieces and be disciplined in their defending, well, they're certainly going to hold the balance of power in the majority of their matches.
Yes, they've got some outstanding players. I just feel at times they need more of a recognised goal scorer. You know, I said at the start of the tournament that I was disappointed that Romario wasn't here. I still think he's Brazilian's the best attacker as far as I'm concerned. JULIO has scored goals when he's come off the bench. Sávio has yet to score. I mean, he'll be desperately looking for a goal tonight.
Do you get the feel that Brazil might chalk up one or two here?
Well, I felt before the game started that it could be a comfortable victory for Brazil. They've started in good fashion. They've got the goal that they wanted. It wouldn't surprise me if they go on to defeat the US rather heavily. I hope not, because the US don't merit that. They've had an excellent tournament. It would be sad if they were to go out tonight after a very, very heavy defeat.
Well, when I spoke to Steve Sampson yesterday, he was telling me he still doesn't know whether he's going to get the job on a full-time basis. He still feels there might be pressures in the United States Federation to get a big-name coach, which might be worth money in the bank for them with possible sponsors. He feels he doesn't come into that category. But what he can look back on, whatever happens, and I must say I hope he does get the job. Some of the best results in the history of soccer, as they say, with the USA national team have been achieved here. In only their second Copa America, they didn't win a game in their first. They didn't qualify for the knockout phases 2 years ago. Wynalda. That's a poor one, by the way, he's played in this tournament, straight to Jorginho. Mike Burns following Sávio. Jonah Harkes in your picture there. He didn't play in that game on the 4th of July last year against the Brazilians because of suspension. Must have been a particularly painful absence for him when he's got the chance to confront Brazil tonight. At the moment, he's finding it hard to get into the game, as all the Americans are in midfield. Juninho skips away from Dooley. Roberto Carlos, Friedel given the chance to claim it. by a clumsy first touch, acknowledged by Roberto Carlos, whose sensitivity on the ball is usually much more in evidence than it was there on his right foot.
Well, he arrives in so many good attacking positions, Carlos. At times you forget that he is a left back.
Ground not full, and that's really largely down to the prices which have been set here. There's been lots of comment in the Uruguayan newspapers what you could buy in terms of food and sustenance for the $25 you're being asked to play to watch a match, however appealing it might be. It's not a rich country, Uruguay, and this of course isn't a packed area population-wise here in Maldonado. It's a seaside resort, and of course we're not in the seaside season. The floating population has moved away for the winter recess. But those who are in the stadium wondering now what the USA can come up with here with Tab Ramos, who owes Brazil a thing or two, you might feel, to take the free kick. Kobe Jones to his right. Lala's trying to get free, and Dooley as well. Sávio. Burns dogging his footsteps again. Small and manoeuvrable. Aldair, the scorer of Brazil's opening goal. Nonchalantly done by Roberto Carlos, rather perhaps summing up the confidence that Brazil are feeling in this situation. Dunga, but Argentina were confident a few days ago against the USA, and look what happened to them. Juninho, the ever-willing Roberto Carlos again. Oh, misjudged by Lalas. Edmundo, oh, it could so easily have been 2-0. Sávio and Zinho moving in for the kill, but couldn't get there quickly enough, right on the line.
That was an intelligent ball from Edmundo, wasn't it? Cross come shot, but certainly played into the danger area. It all started from the cross from Carlos, a bad header from Lalas, good control from Edmundo. That's the ball.
And Alexei Lalas pretty relieved here. Juninho, that's more great work from him. Kept in by Zinho. Roberto Carlos. And this time Lalas able to take the pace off the ball properly. Wynalda. But Brazil in control with 20 minutes left in the first half.
We've all spoken about how hard these American boys work, but tonight the Brazilians are passing the ball that well that really, even though they are working hard, the Americans, it's proven ineffective because they just can't get close to them.
Brazil momentarily down to 10 men. Leandro has just rolled over the touchline for treatment. He's the player in for the suspended Cesar Sampaio in that key role for Brazil. That holding midfield player who, if necessary, will actually play as a sweeper behind the two centre-backs. But he's off the pitch at the moment. He came on in the opening game against Ecuador and had a good run when Sampaio was injured, got concussion early in that game. But we haven't seen him since until tonight. Playing his fourth international for Brazil, Leandro from Vasco da Gama. On from Harkes. Lalas, who's likely to crop up anywhere. It's not a bad ball. The Breakdown of communication there, which frustrated Wynalda. Zinho. That was Juninho coming in, and he's certainly not frightened to go in physically. Small, deceptive frame. There's been talk back in England of Brian Robson wanting to bring Juninho to Middlesbrough. And when you first looked at him, you wonder whether he could play Premiership football. But from what we've seen of him, and we've been lucky to see a lot of him over the last few weeks, I wouldn't think his lack of size would be a problem. Well, he looks as though he's got a big heart, Trevor. Yeah,
he's a player that I would certainly enjoy seeing in the Premiership. The type of player that would really excite fans up and down the country. I think he's been one of the outstanding performers in this tournament.
Well, he has been pledging his allegiance to his club, Sao Paulo, who have also said that they want to keep him. But to use a famous Alex Ferguson phrase, every player has his price. Oh. It's not looking good for Leandro. Ramos. Oh, the space for him to go on here. You could say the space that Leandro has vacated. The back four weren't protected that time. And it's a corner to the USA as Mario Zagallo ponders what to do. John Harkes will take it. Oh, there was something there you felt for Dooley to flick on, but he didn't make the most of the opportunity to do that. Wynalda finding extra speed again to get away from Jorginho. Lalas met it well.
That was excellent play there from the US. Good play from Wynalda, went past his man, put a great ball to the back post. Here you see Lalas getting up, and that's Cruz with a timely header.
Well, he just left Jorginho, did Eric Wynalda. And there was Lalas. Well, he will crop up anywhere, as I say, and at times he looks a better attacker than he does a defender.
But he certainly leapt high there, Martin. He towered above Aldair.
Well, brought on Beto, a 20-year-old from Botafogo, to fill the gap initially vacated by Sampaio, who was suspended tonight, and his replacement, Leandro, not lasting half an hour here, having to go off injured. Juninho's usually immaculate control, letting him down there from Sávio's layoff. Beto. Well, they do have such a wonderful production line in Brazil. And you know, if you get a chance in the national team, you've got to play well. If you do, you might just stay there. And Beto's got that opportunity. Dunga spreading the play to the right-hand side. Juninho. Oh, the referee slipping. As always, whenever that happens anywhere in the world. Crowd enjoying it. Beto. Sávio. Dogged by Burns again. Carlos's cross. Cut out calmly by Caligiuri. Wynalda, very active again. Lalas. Well, 10 minutes or so ago, Brazil seemed to be cruising. But since then, the Americans have looked as though they believe they're still very much in the match, as they should believe. Roberto Carlos. Well, you can see the license that Mike Burns has to go everywhere with Sávio. Really following in deep. A lot of man-to-man markers would say, right, you can go that far and I'll wait to get you when you come back into my half.
Yes, I just hope that when Burns does start following Sávio all over the field, that Lalas stays at the back and doesn't wander himself, which he tends to do at moments.
Edmundo. Zinho. With movement again by Roberto Carlos and by Kobe Jones. Well, he'd love to be doing his running towards the other goal, but Roberto Carlos, and the fact that Brazil are having more of the ball, making that a rarity rather than something that the Americans have seen frequently. Mario Zagallo protected from the cold with the hat and the wrapping of the coach's coat. Dunga. Aldair. Well read by Lalas. It wasn't the best of balls towards the front men for Brazil. Ramos, who was born here, of course, in Uruguay, and has been singled out for special attention by the Uruguayan media. Well, I must say it was a surprise had that free kick been given to Brazil. Moore was all the while claiming it was his, and it was. And look where Alexei Lalas had got to again. I hope for a better delivery from Tab Ramos from the right-hand side.
Yes, you do feel that if the Americans are going to cause problems to the Brazilians, it could be from set pieces. You know, we saw the danger earlier when Lalas went up at the back post and caused problems. He's always a threat with his height. And also they've got Dooley. A feature of his play during this tournament has been the way he's got into the penalty box, makes some great runs into the opposition's penalty box.
Dunga. Caligiuri, who passed his 100th appearance for the United States in this tournament, is presented with a very expensive watch and an inscribed plaque to commemorate the feat. But the memories he will have as being part of the side to get to this semi-final. Here he is, Paul Caligiuri, such a regular in the World Cup campaigns. Nice turn from Moore, but Jorginho didn't let him get away. But they're finishing the half strongly, the Americans. Caligiuri. Just emphasising that point.
It's really great to see them playing with so much confidence. A little drag back there from Joe Max Moore. Well, you wouldn't have seen that 6 months ago. Now I think this tournament, with one or two of the results they've had, have really done them the world of good, and they can only go on from this.
Well, we'd all love to see the game get its proper place in the American sporting calendar in the United States. I don't see why in any way, as Wynalda gets a ticking off here, it should weaken the position of baseball or American football in such a big country. There's surely room for everyone to have a piece of the sporting action. But there's such a fear, I can tell you, about the popularity of our football. And that's in some influential places. As if they don't really want it to succeed, they want their own games to be the top sporting show. But these players here flying the flag for the United States and for football in North America. Ironically, they're doing it in a South American competition. But they've been brought in to increase the interest, and they've certainly done that. And as I said the other night, I don't think it will be too long before the Copa America will be staged in the United States. And the facilities, we all know, are there. And I'm sure the crowds would come out. Ramos. In from Lalas. Brazil having to play in their own half, but not for long. Always the danger as the Americans get more confident and they'll be picked off, and they're grateful for the flag here as Edmundo just straight offside.
Well, for a moment, the US are just lacking a little bit in discipline there, because, as you can see, they're totally exposed on this left-hand side, the Americans' right-hand side. Kobe Jones, who's played virtually the whole of this half in that position, wandered over to the left-hand side, and the balance of the team went immediately.
Here's Harkes with an early cross. Oh, and Taffarel got the jitters then as Wynalda came in. Well, it's all very well being a hero in a penalty shootout, but if you make too many mistakes, you won't get as far as the penalty shootouts. It's a corner to the United States, taken by Wynalda. That was Moore trying to get it goalwards. Taffarel relieved to be able to claim it and use it. To Juninho, 7 minutes left in the first half. Brazil trying to re-establish their control. Juninho. Edmundo uses Roberto Carlos as a decoy. Juninho, has he got it back? Well, he did, and Brad Friedel beat it away. He looks such a big man. Indeed, he is a big man, but somehow he increases in size when he's in the one-on-one situation. It wasn't going to count in any case, but it was a good save nonetheless.
Yes, Juninho got the run of the ball here, but that's once again an excellent save from Friedel. Comes out at Juninho's feet. Such a huge figure is this Friedel, but he gets down sharpish and really denies Juninho when you feel he's going to score.
But the linesman decided he'd seen an offside in there. Sávio, Edmundo. Here on the gallop is Roberto Carlos again. Just too far ahead of Sávio, who was a bit disappointed. Edmundo having a shrug and a say as well. But very important for the United States not to lose another goal before half-time.
Yes, and I would think that Kobe Jones is looking forward to getting into that dress room for a well-earned rest, because he's had a torrid time down this side in this opening 40 minutes. As I felt, Carlos would be too strong for him. He's really dictated the game, continually gets in behind him, and really has exposed Kobe Jones, because, as we said, he's not a defender, he's an attacking player who really is a right-sided midfield winger.
And just to make the point again that it was the foul by Jones on Roberto Carlos that led to Brazil scoring from the subsequent free kick, taken by Juninho and headed in by Aldair for only his second international goal. Edmundo. Well, he's seen the gap, he wants to accelerate into it. Lalas, pretty robust with the challenge. And one or two rueful looks from the Brazilians away from the referee when they realised that he wasn't going to give Edmundo a penalty.
No, the tackle had to be timed right. It was a very positive play from Edmundo. Decided to attack Lalas.
Well, the outcome is a corner, which Zinho will take. Aldair well forward again. Friedel, it came a bit quicker to him than he anticipated. There's Jorginho, not quite on line with the back heel, aimed back towards Zinho, whose corner had really zipped in, and Friedel didn't get as much on it as he would have liked. Here's Dooley. He's just looking a bit weary. Games coming so thick and fast in this tournament. Edmundo. There's a ball on here for Jorginho. And there were 3 in the centre for Jorginho to find, and usually he'd back him to do a bit better than that.
Yes, it was a poor ball from Jorginho. It was good build-up play. And Edmundo, Sávio, Juninho, all 3 of them in the box, waiting for the ball, and they certainly would have expected a better ball than this. As you can see, the 2 of them completely unmarked. I think it was Juninho and Edmundo who went to the near post. If the ball had been half decent, it would have been the second goal for Brazil.
Dunga. Here's André Cruz, who's kept the centre-back role from Ronald Dow alongside Aldair. Juninho. The Brazilians enjoying passing the ball on this new pitch here in this brand new stadium, which is a great credit to the organisers. Lovely facilities. Sávio. There's Jones and Roberto Carlos again, and once more you could detect the unease that Kobe Jones was feeling.
You do feel that at half-time Steve Sampson has to seriously consider changing things around there, because Carlos has really dictated this first 45 minutes, and they've obviously got Jones in for his attacking qualities, but he hasn't been able to get forward apart from one run that he went to the byline and caused the problem with the cross. So maybe he may have to decide to take him off and put somebody on who's got more defensive qualities.
At the same time recognising that they do need to score. Harkes for Wynalda. Stewart's gone into the middle. And he makes defenders think, Eric Wynalda, with his positional play, his capacity for work, his natural speed. Here he is on the ball again. Jones this time doing his best to make it difficult for Roberto Carlos in the other penalty area. Came in with a very good header, you might remember, in the quarter-final against Mexico.
Yes, that was a good ball from Wynalda there. Jones not the tallest. I think it's the type of ball that Lallis would appreciate at the back post.
Lallis appreciating that one. We're almost at half-time here in the second semi-final. Whoever gets through, and you have to back Brazil in this position, but whoever gets through, what a tough task to play an away game in the final against Uruguay in the Centenario Stadium, where Uruguay have been all-powerful, not just in this competition, but down the years in all the Copa America matches that they've played at home. Well, Brazil took the lead after 13 minutes from Aldair, heading in at very close range from Juninho's free kick. And for 15 minutes or so after that, with Juninho impish and others really dictating the direction of the traffic towards the Americans' goal, that Brazil would be moving towards a comfortable success. But the Americans have picked themselves up from the disappointment of going behind, and they're certainly still in it. But at half-time here in Maldonado, they trail the World Cup holders by 1-0.
Changes is unheard of, and as I said, they pay a very heavy bill, because this is supposed to be the semi-final. Really, we all thought it was going to be Brazil against Argentina, but unfortunately it's a good lesson there that you should not underestimate anybody.
Okay, thanks Joe, thanks Michael. Let's go back to Maldonado. Our commentators again, Martin Tyler and Trevor Francis.
And finally, the Brazilians, it's been quite an elongated half-time. Trevor Francis, the United States start the second half with Kobe Jones lining up on the left-hand side.
Yes, I felt that something had to be done during the half-time interval. Perhaps a change of personnel, but Sampson has decided to switch Stewart and Kobe Jones.
Well, it's 1-0 to Brazil, but the United States still within range, and of course, just to refresh your memory, that if it was to be level after 90 minutes, we would have a penalty shootout, and Steve Sampson's side saw off Mexico in the shootout in the quarter-final with a splendid quartet of penalties from Wynalda, Moore, Caligiuri and Klopas. So Brazil with still some more work to do here. Sávio. Mike Burns is giving as good as he's getting as Savio's marker. Here's Stewart on the right-hand side. Has the doubtful privilege now of having to backtrack every time Roberto Carlos heads from left to right on that far side of the pitch as we look.
I would think that Kobe is feeling rather tired after that first 45 minutes. But to be fair, I think one or two of the Americans have looked tired. Dooley, who's been making some good runs in earlier matches in the penalty box. We haven't seen this in this game. You know, the Americans did a lot of running throughout this tournament. I just feel that it's catching up with them a little bit in this game.
Yeah, Steve Sampson told me that he felt that they were feeling the physical side of things against Mexico. That's why they didn't play with as much verve as they did against Argentina. One reason. He did believe that they were physically getting their strength back. But Tom Dooley, of course, is 34 years old now. But there he is intercepting. Ramos. And now Joe Max Moore. The other reason that's being put forward for the way the game went against Mexico was that the American players can't yet handle the big win, the reaction to it. We saw that after they beat Chile in the opening game. They were not in the right frame of mind against Bolivia when they next played. Then, of course, they beat Argentina so sensationally. And I don't think really they'd come down to earth until they actually got on the pitch against Mexico, and maybe their concentration suffered because of that. But they will, as they develop and put together more consistent sequences in international football. Remember, they came here as winners of their own US Cup against Colombia, Mexico and Nigeria. That was last month. They've lost only one of their last 7 internationals. And they've achieved far more than perhaps they expected. Steve Sampson's target was to get into the last 8. Well, here they are in the last 4, and face-to-face again with Brazil, as they were in the last 16 of the World Cup. Important phase of the game, this. Brazil can do what they did in the first half and score relatively early, then this semi-final might well be settled. But while it's at 1-0, the optimism is there for the underdogs. At the moment, can't get the ball out of this particular defensive corner. Long throw from Roberto Carlos. And then a cross from him that's straight at an unchallenged Friedel. It's Friedel's 34th cap, compared to 11 for Casey Keller. So you can see the seniority in terms of experience, although of course Brad Friedel has had less top-class club experience. He's been with Brøndby in Denmark, only as a backup goalkeeper in Danish Super League. Of course, Casey Keller's been playing week in, week out now, more than 150 games for Millwall. Still, the referee has been able to keep the yellow card in his pocket.
So the fact that Brad Friedel has won 34 caps for his country suggests that he shouldn't have too many problems getting a work permit for Sunderland.
No, that's another of the transfer stories with a British touch to it that's emanated from this tournament. André Cruz, well, they've let him run. Toby Jones lucky to get a second go at it, really. He was favourite to win it the first time and didn't do the job properly. Jorginho. Again, Dooley a bit late on parade. Beto. Quite a step up for him. Coming to a tournament like this. Juninho sprinting successfully to keep it in, and his reward is a throw.
Well, Juninho certainly showed great pace there. I don't think there have been too many players in the game who would have kept that ball in play.
But it's symptomatic again of this Brazilian attitude. We've seen other moments, times in the tournament when they really could have soft pedal. I'm not suggesting they can here in the semi-final. But it's been very consistent, their application to the standards set by Mario Zagallo, who's been through it all, done it all as player and coach for Brazil. He still has his hunger for the job. Well into his 60s now. Of course, he's got the job back from Carlos Alberto Pereira, who was a target for the United States Soccer Federation to replace Bora Milutinovic, but he's taken a club now in Turkey. And Steve Sampson, as we said earlier, still awaits his fate. But to use his own expression, whatever happens, he feels very content about the achievements here in Uruguay for the team that he coaches, the United States of America, even in an interim basis. Caligiuri. Harkes with the yell of pain. It was caused by Jorginho. And it's a free kick for the United States, coming up to the 8-minute mark of the second half. Wasn't the first one that got him, but the second. Harkes takes the free kick. It was a free header for Aldair, but not a very good header. And now it's a corner.
Well, you do feel this is the Americans' best chance. Lallis there, shout into Wynalda. He wants the ball in the air, plenty of height.
And it was Lallis going in. Alexei Lallis. Not too far away at all.
Well, it's a good cross, and Lallis really attacks this ball. Aldair goes in with a challenge, but it's Lallis who gets there, directs his header towards goal, just past Collis's post.
Well, it's a compliment to Alexei Lallis that Aldair, the most effective aerial defender, is obviously itemized to pick up the easily spotted American international, but spotting him is one thing, stopping him is another. Oh, but he's always likely to make that sort of defensive lapse. Edmundo, Juninho, and still it came back to him off Burns, I think it was. And no wonder Lallis raises the arm of apology. It was all down to his miskick near the halfway line.
Well, it's a good ball from Edmundo, and Juninho should have done better with that. That was a good chance. But a very clever ball from Edmundo, just guides it into the space in behind Lallis, into the path of Juninho, and he completely misses his kick.
It was similar to the ball that Poyet played for Otero in yesterday's semi-final, but unlike Colombia, the United States did get defenders back to help the goalkeeper. That goal got Uruguay the insurance of a second, and had it materialise the same way for Brazil, I think we really would be definitely looking at a Uruguay-Brazil final. It's still the favourite, but it's not in place yet. That's in concentration there. Only Stewart grasping the ball there just to get himself focused again. It's a terribly inward, isn't it, at the moment, focused. I have to be aware about overusing it. Something that you hear in every sport. The psychologists who seem to be influencing us all.
Watching Juninho miss that chance, the only question mark I put against this Brazilian side is their inability to score goals. I don't think they're really flush with goals in this team. Edmundo was rated with 1 or 2, but they do lack what I would term to be a prolific goal scorer up front. You can't really see them going out and giving too many teams a hiding, because they don't have players who you look at who are going to score goals on a regular basis.
This is Beto. Bringing up on the ground, but no free kick in his favour. Harkes. Jones flicks it on for Wynalda, who's just adjudged offside. He's not happy about it. And for dissent here, he's going to get himself into trouble.
No, he wasn't very happy, but I think the linesman was correct. Eric had just wandered slightly offside, and linesman raised his flag.
And in the 57th minute, we record the first booking of the game. Very out of keeping with the way yellow cards have been brandished so much earlier in all the other matches. Ramos. Touched on by Lalas. Still only 1-0 to Brazil. Juninho. Beto getting in the way of Edmundo, or the other way around. Whatever happened, it broke down for Brazil, and suddenly Wynalda with a chance to run at André Cruz, who's not the quickest defender, and didn't look it then. Nothing given except a goal kick.
I think Cruz realised here that Wynalda had a little bit too much pace for him. Just give him a little shoulder charge, because he realised that Wynalda was going to go past him, and he was a little bit fortunate to get away with that.
Well, it's an area that Argentina exploited between André Cruz and the attack-minded Roberto Carlos. And I think Wynalda was looking to find a way through for the United States then. Taffarel had to kick quickly. He certainly got it a long way. And Brazil can try and squeeze the United States. They will look for an outlet from the distribution of their goalkeeper. Roberto Carlos. Edmundo. Caligiuri hesitated, worried about Roberto Carlos' speed. Here's Juninho, it's set up nicely for him, and just flew too high. Well, they suddenly found some attacking rhythm again, did Brazil.
Well, great move, terrific pace. Good crossfield ball from Carlos into the path of Juninho, chest control, second touch, the rasping right foot shot. As you can see, just flies over Brad Friedel's crossbar.
Beto. Foot raised by Ramos, dangerous play. Apologies from the United States midfield man, to Beto, who is way down the pecking order to play in this tournament. But circumstances have worked in his favour, with Cesar Sampaio suspended, Leandro injured early in the semi-final. Juninho too quick for Dooley. Dooley again, steering it forward, and now Edmundo is going to be booked for a deliberate and, in that situation, rather unnecessary trip. So suddenly the referee's getting busy. But the players who have been cautioned are both attackers. Jones. Now Jorginho, a defender in trouble here, and Wynalda doesn't need to take the law into his own hands, particularly having just been booked himself. He's always had a bit of a fiery streak. He was sent off in the World Cup finals in 1990, you might recall. Caligiuri takes the free kick. Aldair deals with it. Confident touch from Ramos. Well, it was a sight of goal for Ernie Stewart.
Well, we talked about the attacking qualities all evening of Carlos, but on this occasion here, he's found one with a very, very poor header. It's not the sort of header that you'd expect from a defender. You're looking for height and distance. In fact, Carlos does neither. He heads the ball down into the path of Stewart, and could have proved costly for him.
Ramos. Dunga dropping deep. Well, Zinho started the game very brightly, but we haven't seen him make as many forward runs since, really, the goal was scored. Jorginho. Juninho got it back, fortunately, from Jones. Jorginho, Kobe Jones tracking back again with the typical determination that this side has put in abundance, and they're still in the semi-final. I think if you'd asked them before the game if they take 1-0 down with 27 minutes or so to go, they might be reasonably happy with that. They've got an opportunity here.
Yes, undoubtedly Samson is pleased with his team's performance. He's thinking to himself probably now, well, we're 1-0 down, do I keep it as it is? But we do need a goal, and they don't really look as if they're going to score a goal. And on the bench there, he's got Klopas, who scored the opening goal against Argentina. It may just be the moment for him to come on.
Stewart. Well, Roberto Carlos couldn't prevent the cross. It wasn't a very good cross. Manchester United fans, incidentally, might like to hear of Jovan Kirovski, who, of course, is on United's books. He's been studying in the northwest of England, a Californian of Yugoslav background, who's had a taste of full international experience with the United States. He's in the squad here, but he's been ill. He's had rather severe stomach upset, so he's unlikely to be used from the bench. Zinho. The Brazilians have become quite tired of fielding questions about the legitimacy or lack of it of Julio's equaliser against Argentina. Well, they've scored a good enough goal here to lead the United States and set course for the final on Sunday. with the losers tonight to play Colombia in Saturday's third and fourth place game. Both matches you'll see live on Sky Sports. Edmundo. There's a cross Friedel. Oh, well, it looked a tap in for Zinho, but it wasn't.
Well, once again, it was great play from Brazil. Terrific ball from Beto to Edmundo. He attacks Lalas here, gets it onto his right foot, drives it across the box as he does. Zinho comes in at the back post, just can't quite get there.
Well, there was a touch along the way, and it is a corner. Friedel in a hurry. André Cruz had been sent up, but this was the incident that led to the corner.
Just look at the ground that Zinho has to make up to get into this position. Here he comes around the back of Stewart. Just can't get there.
Friedel didn't touch it, but it was off the studs of Lalas. It might have gathered pace from that, and Zinho was just a little late on the scene. Stays at 1-0. Caligiuri. Moore. Wynalda rather getting into Jones's space. Edmundo, who's had a good competition despite being substituted on a couple of occasions, trying to play Sávio through.
Good run once again from Edmundo. He certainly looks the pick of the front two. For me, he's been a disappointment, Sávio. I really am surprised that he keeps his place when you've got players of Ronaldo and JULIO on the bench waiting to come on.
It's a mistake by André Cruz, making Aldair hurry, but he did well. So too did Ramos. Dooley. Stewart takes it on through the legs of Beto for Kobe Jones. Caligiuri. Just a bit too close to the goalkeeper, the cross. A great supporting run from the centre-back to go down the left-hand side. There's Kobe Jones getting back. He still had to do his defensive toils on this side of the pitch as well.
Well, the man that I was talking about, Klopas, who scored that goal against Argentina, looks as if he's now on the field.
For Jones. He also scored in the penalty shootout against Mexico, so should it come to that, he's got even more of a reason for being brought on. Beto, rather teasing Harkes. That's too long for Sávio, who's being hailed in Brazil as a real rags-to-riches story. He left school early, went to work in a supermarket, and suddenly now here he is in the international side with all the trappings of fame and fortune. A role model for others to follow. Lalas is also a role model in the United States of a different kind. Not really been rags to riches for him, as I mentioned earlier in the competition. He grew up in Detroit, following the Detroit Express, whose star player was Trevor Francis. Edmundo. That was arrogantly done by Caligiuri with the back heel. Kept in by Wynalda. Well, Brazil have been prepared to defend well up the pitch.
You mentioned Lallis being a supporter of Detroit Express. Another supporter was the American captain, John Harkes.
Was he still a supporter when he left Sheffield Wednesday? I know John's very anxious to play in the Premiership again. And Jim Smith will hope that he plays so well over the next few months that he does it with Derby County.
When I sold him, he had the chance to play in the Premiership. Peter Reid made a very good offer for him to go to Manchester City, but he elected to go with Arthur Cox at Derby, who are in the First Division.
Arthur must have had a few dollars at his disposal, though. Harkes. Here's Ramos. Brazil must keep their concentration if they're going to keep their lead. The United States trying to find something extra here. Battling against top quality opposition, battling against their own fatigue. Well, that was a clear dive by Klopas after he'd lost the ball. Lallis committed. Space here for Jorginho. And for Sávio. Friedel pushes it out, and Caligiuri tidies up. Zinho.
Well, certainly the nearest Sávio has been to scoring. Got it onto his left foot, good cross shot. But Friedel was equal to it.
Yes, for once, Mike Burns, who's done a marvellous job, you can see him here, the number 4, he couldn't prevent the shot coming in.
What's disappointing, though, is that as he shoots there, Sávio, his partner up front, Edmundo, just stands and watches it. If he follows it in, he could have put the rebound in the back of the net.
Handball by Klopas, you might say of the Julio variety. But this time he was facing the referee. Julio has admitted that the ball did strike the inside of his elbow, which I think is to his credit. I'm still waiting for Diego Maradona to admit that he punched the ball into England's net in 1986. But heavy irony in that incident, no doubt about that. It's being recalled at the moment.
You just saw Dunga there doing an impersonation of Julio.
Here's Wynalda. Down he goes. The referee saw nothing wrong. Wynalda, whether he stayed down out of frustration or whether he's really hurt, he's got an arm up to suggest that it's the latter. Klopas keeps it in. No Wynalda in the centre. Frank Klopas. Well, while we assess the damage to Wynalda, just a footnote on Argentina's resentment about the way they lost their lead in Rivera. They've withdrawn their referee from the tournament as a protest, the Argentine FA. The team, of course, withdrawn by losing a penalty shootout.
Just looking closer there so I can spot what the injury was, but it appears to be something quite serious because Wynalda is in a lot of pain. He signalled that he wanted the trainer on immediately, and be surprised if he can continue.
Well, his fitness has been in question right from the start of the tournament, and that's another compliment to the way that he has performed here. At times playing through the pain. Well, they've got a free kick now against Sávio. They're still on the ball from Joe Max Moore. Well, could Brazil be shaken here? Moore goes in. Beto scrapes it away. Will come back from Caligiuri with a fair amount of thought too. But Harkes couldn't match that with the control. Mario Zagallo wanting to get a message through here. Well, it's been no runaway success for Brazil. With 15 minutes to go, they're rather edging towards the final.
Well, you can see quite clearly there that Zagallo is a very worried man.
Ingresa el jugador 9 Julio Pereira en sustitución del jugador
Savio's come off.
Sávio.
Yes, the man who scored that controversial goal, got the equaliser against Argentina, JULIO, I believe, has just come on. Not before time, as far as I'm concerned.
Well, he has had a marvellous run. 7 goals in 7 international appearances in 1995, and you can add to that a penalty in the shootout. And you can add also to that a shootout against Argentina, of course. He also got a hat-trick for a Brazilian 11, an international 11 against Valencia, coached, of course, by Carlos Alberto Pereira back in the spring.
And he also scored 2 this morning in a 5-a-side game.
Well, I know you've been supporting him, Trevor, and the statistics support him as well. Here's Roberto Carlos, Brazil coming back to life. Ramos diverts it away initially from Edmundo. Beto. That is off Lalas. Luckily for him, the flag was up for offside. Well, as an old manager of yours, Brian Clough, used to say, he can score a goal in a second. And there's still plenty of seconds left for the United States. And Brazil are still within reach.
I feel that Sávio gives the team a little bit more movement. He makes a lot of good runs, sometimes a little bit too wide. But I think JULIO is a far better player in the penalty box. And that's what Brazil needs, someone in that box who can score goals.
Steve Sampson has brought on Mike Sorber. With Eric Wynalda, sadly for the nation from North America, not able to return. Dooley, who's certainly got an eye for goal coming from midfield, but he hasn't been able to make the runs as often as he would like in this game. Julio's had a magnificent time in Brazil in club football as well, with Botafogo in the national championship and the state championships as well. He actually made his debut back in 1990, not long after the World Cup finals and that sad exit from the Brazilian perspective against Argentina and Italy. But he's only made the odd appearance until this year. There he is, JULIO. Has played in Europe, in Switzerland. So Roberto Carlos. Well stopped, Brad Friedel. It skimmed towards the goalkeeper, with always the threat that someone, friend or foe, might stick out a foot.
Yes, that was good, clean handling by Friedel. Needed to be. JULIO was lurking.
Friedel right behind it. Beaten once by Aldair. Back after 13 minutes, when his positioning was found out by the power on a shortish free kick from Juninho from the edge of the penalty area, but Aldair was able to meet and Friedel couldn't. Now, there would be a time in the pretty recent past when the United States would take a 1-0 defeat against Brazil in any circumstances. It would be a compliment to their development. They've got to show here in the 11 minutes that remain that they're going to fight right to the very last. Zinho. JULIO. Rather a strange one. And Beto lost out to Ramos. Here's Klopas. Stewart back on the left.
You do feel that Sampson's been a little bit unfortunate because he wanted to get a little bit more firepower up front. He put Klopas on to give a little bit of support to Wynalda. But within minutes of him bringing him on, Wynalda's gone off himself. So they're still lacking a little bit up front.
But here's Stewart. Ernie Stewart. Oh, we'll never know. But it was well struck. And then more pushes down a rather weary Dunga. They've been pressed all the way in the second half of Brazil.
That was good play from Stewart, and you could say excellent positional play from Aldair, because that ball was going. It was going to the net. He got himself in the way, and like a good defender, took it full in the chest.
Beto. But at this stage, Trevor, I would have expected perhaps to be able to talk to you about how you feel Brazil might do in the final against Uruguay, but I feel that talk would be premature. Brazil haven't earned the place in the final as yet.
No, whilst you can't really see the Americans scoring, whilst it stays at 1-0, they're still on with hope. And, you know, we've seen so many goals scored from set pieces in this competition. That, I feel, is the Americans' best hope. But what they have to be careful of is sending too many men forward and getting caught like this.
It's JULIO again. Well, the scene seemed to be set for him once more to come from the bench with a crucial goal. One now which would absolutely secure the berth in the final. But he couldn't get the better of Brad Friedel.
That's where America have to be careful. You know, they're sending too many players forward and get caught on the counter-attack.
But risks have to be taken. They're running out of time. But they're still not out of this semi-final. They've got an opportunity now. Harkes to take the corner. It's over Lalas, but the bend on the ball that had gone behind, to the relief of Taffarel and his defenders.
Well, what a waste that is. There's just 8 minutes to go. That's the last thing that they wanted, was a ball to be put behind like that and given the goal kick to Brazil. Lalas has showed that if the ball is played into the right areas, he will attack it and cause problems.
Dooley. Mike Sorber is another one whose own game has developed encouragingly over the last couple of years. He's been playing in Mexico. He's had a lot of responsibility. He was a surprise choice in the World Cup. Juninho leaving Lalas and Caligiuri, but not the third man, Burns. But he's still going. This pocket dynamo who's won all our hearts. And remember, he only played his first international back in February, and he's already establishing himself as a major figure on the world stage. Edmundo cleverly wins Brazil a corner. Zinho in no great hurry to take it. A good corner it is to André Cruz, as Edmundo did the screening. JULIO. Juninho. Roberto Carlos. Oh, Friedel got there. The flag went up in any case. He's got to chase back. Friedel wasn't looking at the linesman, but at the ball, which was absolutely the right thing for the goalkeeper.
Well, Edmundo was just caught offside, but once again, very positive play from Carlos, looking for the 1-2. Despite only 5 minutes left on the clock, his intentions are to go forward and try and get a second goal.
Well, in terms of modern international competition, it's been uncharted territory, this, for the United States of America. And they're still in the contest. Still looking to push back the frontiers even further. But Brazil have the clock on their side. They have the experience sufficiently sprinkled throughout the side to see it through. Whether Friedel has a Schmeichel-like streak about him to come up for a corner should the Americans force one. At the moment, it's defending that they've got to do. Edmundo, and well read, Stewart. There's a team efficiency there. Of course, they've been making individual mistakes. We've pointed out several, not just tonight, but from Lales, who has other attributes, as almost a cheerleader on the pitch. But in applauding another Brazilian triumph, we're just a few minutes away from doing that. We should also applaud what the United States have brought into this competition. Roberto Carlos. This is Zinho, over-elaborate, not wanting to take the responsibility himself. Ramos holding off Beto. Klopas giving chase, the other number 14, André Cruz, deals with it. Wasn't the best ball for the striker who plays his football in Greece, Frank Klopas. Caligiuri comes for Stewart. Now Sorba. Oh, Roberto Carlos, that was superb. He's not tired. But he got carried away with it, didn't he?
Well, that's an extraordinary ball. With just 3 minutes to go, crossfield ball like that. It's not what Zagallo would want at this stage of the game.
Caligiuri was the last outfield player then. But Mario Zagallo was a really hard-working player in his own day. And amongst the real headline makers, Pelé and Garrincha. And he's picked a lot of players in his own image. And we praise the Americans for their fitness and their commitment, but Brazil have been just as fit, just as committed, and just a bit better. But it's not yet over. We may have a few fat ladies who sing in the United States. Ramos, Sorba, Lales. Remember, if they score the United States here, we could, or most likely to have a penalty shootout. That's how narrow Brazil's lead is. Burns trying to cut the thread. Out they come, though. Jorginho's running again. In the 90th minute. Can he go all the way? It bounces for JULIO, and
he just doesn't seem to have that killer instinct in the box, does he? His approach work is so good. He beats players so easily. Gets in the box, you think, go on, hit it. But he just doesn't seem to have that desire to score a goal. That's the only thing that's lacking in his game, I'm afraid, because he's an outstanding player.
And he's back there again on the edge of the box to help defend the lead that he helped create with the free kick that Aldair scored from. Moore, Joe Max Moore with a chance. And it was the goal scorer saying, what I have produced, we're going to hold on to. Aldair, who just threw himself into the line of the shot then from more as we go into stoppage time. And the United States have a corner, and they could still equalise. Klopas. And André Cruz happy to get it away. Edmundo held it up well, or touched it off well. And Brazil want to spring forward, not just run down the clock. Edmundo weaving a pattern through the defenders here. Juninho offside to JULIO. Well, it doesn't look as though they're going to need the second. It was 1-0 in Palo Alto in the World Cup just over a year ago, when really Brazil had the extra clout. Here, although they had the advantage of scoring early on, they haven't been able to move away from the Americans and make the place in the final a formality.
No, it was Joe Max Moore went very, very close. It was only Beto who threw himself in front of Joe Max Moore to prevent the shot from going in at goal. He's come on his sub, and that's the most valuable contribution he's made in this second half.
Well, here we are in stoppage time. And Brazil are in no hurry. We're looking at the referee now. Steve Sampson's players have done the coach proud again. But it looks as though the United States will be back here in Maldonado. Lalas committed totally forward to play against Colombia, again as they did in the World Cup. But they are playing regularly now against the highly ranked, highly rated nations of the world. Edmundo wriggling away, still looking for the right postscript here, Brazil. Edmundo again with that sleight of foot, holding off Stewart and Caligiuri. The Americans having to defend when they want to attack. Well, it's Brazil into the final. A gallant defeat here for the United States. They conceded a goal only to a set piece, which will annoy them. After 13 minutes, the scene looks set there for Brazil to romp away to a conclusive victory. But they haven't been able to do that. Nevertheless, they have booked their place in Sunday's final. What a final it will be. Uruguay at home to Brazil. Uruguay with a fantastic record at home in the Copa America, and it will be challenged by the current world champions for the title of Pride of South America. And the United States will play off for third place against Colombia on Saturday. A final score here in Maldonado, with Aldair's goal winning it for Brazil by 1-0.